Hello students, welcome to your computer classroom. So in the previous classes we are discussing chapter 10 about e-commerce. In that we have discussed the different models of e-commerce. Then we are discussing the e-retail. So let us see it once and then we will move to the next topic. So coming to the textbook. So here before this we have seen about the e-retailing, how to make any online purchase, then the different steps which are involved while ordering the product we have seen. Like first the customer visits the website where we can choose the items, then we add them to the shopping cart, then whatever the personal financial details, the address where the product is required to be delivered, that is provided. Then when we make the payment, so when it is confirmed from the bank and there is any feedback uh, from the bank to the e-retailer, then when the payment is confirmed, then the e-retailer sends you the invoice, and the you can say the information is provided to the customer also that the product has been booked via message or via mail. Then when it is confirmed, then the e-retailer sends the information to the fulfillment center where the product is packed and it is sent for the shipment. So while this product is being shipped, and uh, during this delivery period, whatever the status of the product, that is updated on the website, or you can say in the database, so that the customer is also updated about that. So there are some tracking IDs using which we can track what is the current status and location as well. And then in the last step the product is delivered to our doorstep. So these are the steps which are involved during these e-retail transaction. And then next we have seen a method that is called as PayPal purchase. So that is also a payment method using which we can make the payment digitally. So whatever the person who is having the PayPal uh, ID, login ID, so using that the payment can be done, uh, and the when the payment is done, the e-retailer websites give you the invoice and the payment receipt. So this is one of the international payment method which is used on various e-commerce platform. Now coming to the next, that is security concerns. So this we have talking about that when we are using the e-commerce platform, it is also required for us to be very safe and secure, because all the things we are ordering online, so that is why the security is a major concern. Nowadays there are various frauds, the hackers and various malicious persons are misusing these uh, website or platform web platform for uh, for stealing the information of the customers as well as for the payment transactions also. So that is why it is very necessary to be aware about how to keep ourselves secure and safe. So let us read this and see what are the ways by using which we can ensure that we are on a safer website, and then only we can do the payment. So shopping online nowadays is very secure and reliable. So if we are using and we are aware about all the security features, then for the person, then the shopping is secure and reliable. When you purchase goods or services online, the vendor asks you to provide accurate payment information. So while uh, explaining the e-retail, we have seen that during the digital payment, when we have added the product to the shopping cart, while checkout we give these details to the e-retailer by going on the bank website. So this means typing your credit card or debit card number, the card expiry date and the security code along with your name and address details. Clear? So when we provide the details for the payment, in the payment we provide our details of the card, whether it is a credit card or debit card, and also sometimes the online banking. So whatever the transaction medium we are using, we can use, and in all of these there will at least there will be a username or password. Then there are different, on the cards we have the card number, expiry date. So these are the different details which are required to be submitted while doing the payment. So it is vital that the sensitive data does not fall into the wrong hands. Therefore, you need to ensure that you provide the payment details only to a secure site. So as we are talking about, whenever we are doing this payment, before doing this payment, we should ensure that the website which we are using, that is secure for the payment. Clear? Means we will see further that how we can check the security features of the website, that the web address is safe for the digital payment or not. So the website and your web browser display various indicators to ensure that you are entering your confidential data on a secure site. So whenever we are using any of the browsers or any of the website, along with the URL, means the web address of that website, there are some additional information. Using that we can check that the website is secure and we can give the confidential data on that website. So how to check this? Let us see. So on the website, in the beginning we have the HTTPS. So this is the uh, protocol, which is a security protocol. The full form you already know, it is Hypertext Transfer Protocol. Only the HTTP is Hypertext Transfer Protocol. When there is S along with this, this is the Secure Hypertext Transfer Protocol. Clear? So when it is written HTTPS, only then it is a safer and a secure you can say web connection. Clear? So whenever we are using any website for the payment, it should be ensured that the website has HTTPS instead of HTTP. Clear? So HTTP is the normal protocol which is used on any of the website where the data transfer. But when there is any confidential information, if you are giving like payment details, your banking details, then we should ensure that the websites has HTTPS connection. Clear? I will show you example. Let us read this first. So on the website, look for the HTTPS instead of HTTP in the site address, and also look for the security icons such as VeriSign Secured. So this is a VeriSign Secured is a symbol in few of the website. These indicators are also there. So using these we can ensure that the website is secure. In the web browser, look for a lock icon in the browser window. In some browsers, the address bar shows a green background for a secure site. Clear? So the different ways for ensuring that the web uh, address or the web page is secure. First, we have seen that HTTPS is one thing. Then few of the website may have VeriSign secured feature. So these are the indicators, the security icons in the URL bar. So this will also indicate that the web page or the website is secure. Then the next is the green background in the address bar. Few of the URLs have the green background. Some of the times there are some you can say softwares in our computer which are the antivirus software. So they have also some uh, web security features which enable in the any of the websites. So this indicate the green background for those URLs. If we see example of this, let us come to any of the web pages. So for example, let us close this. So for example, if we visit any of the website, for example, in this URL you can see in the Flipkart, here the web address, if I mark this, you can notice that the web address is written starting with HTTPS, and also along with this we have the lock symbol. Clear? So these are the indicators which indicate that the website is secure and we can do the payment. Clear? If we click on this lock symbol, you can also see that it is saying that the connection is secure. Clear? So there are open connection and secure connection. So open connection will be having the URL with HTTP. If it is HTTPS, then it is a secure connection, and the payment can be done on these websites. There are actually some SSL certificates which are some socket layers, that is secure socket layer. Clear? So that is you can say a security feature using which these websites they purchase these security certificates, and on the basis of these uh, they get these uh, you can say the security features. In a similar way, if we see example of one more website, for example, if we come to Amazon, so here also you can see the URL is starting with HTTPS. You can notice in the URL bar that it is starting with HTTPS. Clear? And along with this we have the lock symbol also. So these are, when we uh, point to this lock symbol, you can see it is verified by some DG certification. So these are the different forms which authenticate, and this ensure that the connection is secure. Clear? So these are the ways using which we can ensure that the website is secure and we can use them for the digital payment. Clear? Now coming to the textbook. So this was the security feature which should be checked on the website, only then the payment can be done. Next is security precautions. Let us read this. Nowadays e-commerce is very secure, reliable and popular. Even then there are some security precautions. Clear? So even when the secure connection is there, apart from these web pages and the security features along in these website, there are some other precautions also which we should follow, like customers should never share the personal information like PIN, password, etc. with anyone. Clear? So whenever you have username, password, or if you have the card, ATM card, credit or debit cards, so whatever the PIN and passwords of these, that should not be shared with anyone. Clear? Then also sometimes we receive the messages that these are the means the different malicious users who use the customers to steal the information. So they call and they also give you messages like you have win a lottery and give you details. So these are all the fake messages, and time to time the banks also updates and warns that we should not share these details, uh, and the same is not asked by the banks also. Clear? So here the same it is talking about, that we should never share the PIN and password with anyone, including the employees of the bank. Clear? So the bank also never, the bank has no authority to ask these details. It is only with the customer. Clear? So all of these confidential data, this should not be shared with anyone, not with the bank employees also. Then it is important that the documents that contain confidential information are safeguarded. So wherever these information, by the a good practice it, we should not write these information in any of the places, but even then, whatever the uh, banking or important things you have, this should be very confidential and it should be kept very at very safe place. Clear? For example, the credit card, debit card. Clear? So these are the different confidential things which should be kept in a safe place. Then pin and password mailer should not be stored. So whenever we open the account or whenever we opt for these online banking or whatever the service you are using, so for all of these we receive some mail or messages for setting the password or for enabling this. So whatever the mail which we receive having the pin and password, this should not be stored. Clear? So they should be after the once you have reset it or whatever the password which is provided, after reading this all should be deleted. Clear? So it should not be kept in the mail or in the message, whatever the device you are using. Then the pin or password should be changed immediately and memorized before destroying the mailer. So whatever the mail or the message which in which we have received this pin or the password, after reading this and memorizing this, uh, it should be deleted, and also we should change the password or the pin. Clear? Whatever the default pin or the password which is provided for the first time, when we receive this information, after keeping this information with us, this immediately should be changed. Clear? So that the earlier password whatever it is, it should not be used by anyone. Clear? The next is, it is advisable not to provide sensitive account related information over unsecured emails or over the phone. Clear? So whenever we are talking with someone or if we are sending these information on mail, so it is always advised that we should not send these information via mails or via phone, because the mails and phone messages as well as the calls when we are talking, they are also not secure. We have various examples in day-to-day life when these information are hacked on the basis of those call information or these messages and mail. Clear? So never we should never provide these information to anyone over call or messages. Clear? And only the secure medium or wherever we have uh, if there is any breach of data, we should immediately inform the bank and we should lock that or reset the password or whatever the service you are using. Clear? Then some take simple precautions like changing the ATM pin and online login transaction password on a regular basis. So this is also a good practice that after certain period of time we should change the ATM pin as well as the different banking login password and ID which is provided by the bank. So this way also we can secure the things and there is no breach of these confidential data. Next is also ensure that the logged in session is properly signed out. So whenever you are using these services on any of the web page, any of the website, so at the end we should ensure that the there is proper logout of that account. Clear? And we should wait for few moments. When you receive the message that your account has been logged out, only then we should leave or close the system. And also whenever we are using any public place for doing these things, so we should be extra careful, and more better if we can avoid the public place for doing these. Only the personal devices are better to use whenever we are doing the online or payment transactions. Clear? So these are all the security precautions which we have seen so that we can keep our uh, data confidential. Then the next concept is selling online. So let us read this. So as you use the web as a convenient way to purchase goods and services, you can also use the same convenience to sell products over the internet. So as we are using the internet services for purchasing, in a similar way, the internet services can also be used for selling the products also. Clear? We will see what are the different ways. Now if you have your own website, you may be able to configure it to sell your goods and services directly. So as the different business or the sellers use their own websites, so in a similar way, if you have your own website, so in that way also we can sell the goods or the services to whatever the customer directly, or we have some other platforms also where we can register ourselves for selling the things. Then next one other approach is online auction, which we have seen in the customer to customer uh, model of e-commerce. So there, when you sell our product in the online auction, so if you're not sure what price or charge, or if you think you have a popular product, so when we have some items which we cannot predict what is the price of that, so for, or is there any antique item which is very rare and popular, so for those things we can also opt for the online auction option, where we can list the product on any of the platform, and the persons who are willing to that, they will bid, and the largest bidder we can choose to sell the product. Clear? In most of the cases, you are charged a fee for listing the items and additional fee when you sell the item. So whenever you are using any other platform services, if we have not our own personal website for selling the things, so sometimes the website where we are listing these things, so we have to pay some nominal fee for that, and when we are selling that, few percentage of that is required as a fee for listing the things on the that website. One of the most popular online auction site is eBay. Clear? So eBay is a web platform of e-commerce where these online auction option is there, using which we can sell the things, and sell the things with the method of auction, where the maximum bidder will be the person who is going to uh, get the product, and you can also get the desired money. Next, another common way to sell your goods is to sign up with an existing online retailer. So on the different uh, other web platform, there are the online retailers, so you can sign up and make your own user ID for setting up on as to sell the things on those web platforms. This means your goods list along with the retailer's regular stock, and people can purchase your products in the same manner as they purchase other goods from the retailer website. So suppose the different retailer website like Amazon, Flipkart, Snapdeal, here you can see the examples also. So here when we purchase the things, so not necessary that the product is provided by the same manufacturer only. There are different e-retailers. So in a similar way, we can also be a e-retailer on these web platforms. So we need to register on these web sites or web platforms, and when you are registered, you can also list the things, and directly the customers can, when they are searching the things, they will also get your products also if you have registered and put your products on that website. Clear? And the different examples here, the same we are talking about. The biggest online retailers that offer these services are Amazon, Flipkart, and Snapdeal. Clear? So using these uh, web services, we can we can also sell the things online. Let us read this, update your knowledge also. So by connecting a domestic television with a phone line, Michael Aldrich invented online shopping in 1979. Clear? So this online shopping concept was started in year 1979 when a person named Michael Aldrich, he has connected the television with the phone line. Clear? Next is Pizza Hut was one of the first major brands to experiment with online commerce starting in 1994. So as a business, the one of the brands which started these concept of online commerce was the Pizza Hut. Clear? We all know, we are familiar about these services. We order also the different food items. So Pizza Hut provides a pizza in various countries. So this was started in 1994. Then next is PayPal is an international e-commerce. So in this chapter also we have discussed that PayPal is a payment method. So here the PayPal is an international e-commerce business allowing payment and money transfer to be made through the internet. Clear? So this is a way of digital payment. Online money transfers serves as electronic alternative to pay with the transaction traditional paper methods. So earlier the methods which we were using, they were traditional, and in that we have to provide the money in the form of cash. But now with these various digital payment option, we can get rid of these traditional paperwork. We don't need to visit the banks and to perform the different tedious work. Directly we can use the online payment services using which we can transfer the money, we can do the transaction digitally, we can purchase and sell the things. Clear? So this was all for explaining this chapter. Next is the exercises. So I hope you have tried to do few of the exercise things in this chapter. Now if we see the few of the questions, so first question is the type of e-commerce used by individual to sell products and services directly to other individual. So here it is talking about then one individual is selling the goods or service to another individual. So which model of e-commerce is this? This is customer to customer. Clear? Because one customer, that is one individual, is directly selling the product to another customer. So that is why this business model is the customer to customer model of e-commerce. Clear? So the answer of this question will be C to C, the third option. Now coming to the question B, the e-commerce in which the sale or exchange of products and services takes place between business firms. So here there is involvement of business firms. Clear? So when there is exchange of product or services between two business firm, which model is this? This is business to business, because one business is selling the service to another business. Clear? So the answer of this is B2B e-commerce model. Clear? So the two answers, let us erase this. So the first answer is C to C and the second answer is B2B, that is business to business. Clear? So we have covered the explanation and few of the exercise. The other remaining questions we will discuss in the next class, and then we will move to the next chapter, which is very important about computer security and virus. Till then, try to do these filling the blanks question, as well as the question answers are also easy. We can try doing this. So read this chapter once, the different security concerns and precautions which we should take care about when we are performing the digital payment services, and then we will meet in the next class with this exercise and the next chapter also. Thank you.